Hey, honey,
Yes, Barry?
let's get out of here.
Where are we going?
Where do we always go?
Fascina el viento, este ritmo de palmas, sin ti naturaleza, hasta encontrar la playa. Por eso grito al mundo, yo soy de Puerto Vallarta. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta.
Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. I'm your host, Barry Kessler, and I am just so happy to be introducing you to my favorite vacation destination. Hey, maybe it's even yours, and that's Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. That music you're listening to is performed by Alberto Perez, and Alberto is the owner of the Lapa Lapa group of restaurants. Those are the Lapa Lapa, Puerto Vallarta's oldest restaurant on the famous Los Muertos beach, and the El Dorado restaurant and beach club right next door. So you can enjoy that fantastic view of the Los Muertos pier, all lit up at night in beautiful colors, or during the day in its grand splendor for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Seated with your toes in the sand right at the water's edge. It's so romantic. It's so Puerto Vallarta, my friends. This week we have a smorgasbord of goodies for you. We're going to visit with a guy named Guy Weeks. Guy has himself knee-deep in the Cuale Island restoration project after Hurricane Nora did a number on the island. We'll be talking with him. We will also visit briefly with Natasha Moraga from Tile Park PV. She's going to fill us in on what's going on over there. And also we're going to sit down with my good friend, the lovely Marcia Blondin from the PV Mirror. We'll talk about what's happening in town. We have PV news and even an email from our email bag. So let's get started. Let's see what's happening this week in Puerto Vallarta, the 23rd of May, 2022. Just a reminder that coming up, the Sabores de Vallarta over at Puerto Magico is coming up on May the 28th. So coming up this weekend. As I said last week, it's an excellent opportunity to try a wide variety of different styles of foods and recipes and flavors that the beautiful Puerto Vallarta port has to offer with all the different restaurants that will be participating in the event. There's going to be mixologists, they're going to have music, there's going to be seafood tacos, aguachile, raicilla, local beers. It will be, of course, at Puerto Magico, like I said, Saturday the 28th from 2 o'clock until 10 at night, and parking is free, entrance is free. The food and the booze is going to cost you, but it will be at reduced prices. Get on down there and get a taste of Puerto Vallarta over at Puerto Magico. Now, June is fast approaching, which means that the rainy season is almost here. The Insurgentes Bridge is finally complete, of course, and they are putting the final touches on it. While I was down there, I noticed that they are busily building a rock wall right along the Isla Cuale, where part of that island collapsed, where Oscar's restaurant is there over on the Isla. So they're putting up like a rock wall there. Also, a similar rock wall is being constructed over at the banks of the river up against the municipal market. And if you remember, the corner of that municipal market collapsed during that flooding, and the bridge collapsed over during Hurricane Nora. Now, they are also very busily working on that road leading up to Paso Ancho, that cracked in half and fell into the river. They have, in order to rebuild it, they've actually been piling rocks up from the river up to the level of the road in order to give enough space so they can put another lane there. It's a very arduous process. It's a very difficult process. There's a lot of rock that they have been bringing in there. They don't have enough time. I'm looking at what they're doing. There's not enough time between now and in a couple of weeks when the rains are going to start I mean, you just can't stop the rains from coming. We'll see. We'll see how they're going to do. They're going to deal with all of that. But it's a race. It's really a race right now against the rainy season. And even though the water is just so desperately needed here in Vallarta right now, it's dry. It's seco. Seco is dry in Spanish. And mojado is wet in Spanish. Those are words that you should know. Seco, dry, and mojado is wet. But it seems that when the wet comes, things green up really, really fast around Puerto Vallarta. But hopefully they won't have as much drama as they had last year. And like I said, it's a big race to see if they can finish all these projects before we get those downpours, which we will be getting, hopefully the middle of June. And speaking of weather and drama and hurricanes, because we get those, 19 shelters have been established by the city as hurricane shelters. There's different places around the city that they identified. Most of them are elementary schools and sports centers around town. Anyway, they have them identified. I have a list of them in the show notes. You can find that at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. There is more happening around town, and I will be touching on some of those with my guest interviewees coming up in just a couple minutes. But I just wanted to read this email that I got from Matt. Matt is from Canada. And so I was going over my email and I discovered one that Matt had sent me. And he talked about how he was a listener and an avid listener and that he planned a family trip based on what he had listened to. And he was going to come to Puerto Vallarta for this coming Christmas. Which is the end of the year, and he couldn't wait for that. So he surprised his wife, and he sent off this email to me just as he was getting ready to go on his trip, kind of as a thank you note. So I sent him an email back. I wanted to know how his trip went, and here's what he wrote back to me. Now, before I get to this note, before I get to Matt's note, Matt, I got to tell you, I hear various versions of this very story multiple times a year from listeners. So yours is totally off the hook. I mean, you actually put it to paper, albeit electronically. So anyway, I'm going to read it now for my audience. It says, Buenos dias, Barry. Thanks so much for getting back to me. I know you're a very busy guy. First, let me rave about your podcast for a second. I've listened to every single episode of your show over the past year or so, and I always wait with anticipation for the next one to arrive. Your show means so much to so many people connected to Puerto Vallarta, and I just want to thank you again for the time and the effort that you put into each episode. I know you could be doing many other things, profitable things, but your passion for this amazing place shines through with every episode that you do. As I listen to each new episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show, I find myself happier and excited to try new places and see the new highlights that you talk about. It truly gives the listeners something to look forward to. Please keep going and know that you and your fine work are appreciated. Thank you. Thanks very much, Matt. Now, how was our first trip to Puerto Vallarta? Well, let me tell you, it was even better than I had imagined. I found your podcast a while back, I'd say over a year ago, and I began listening at episode 1, December 29, 2016. I had been searching for a destination that spoke to me as I planned for the ideal place to one day escape the long Canadian winters with my wife of 27 years. Yes, the snowbird dream. I knew if I researched it properly, justified it financially, and found a destination that spoke to me, my wife would also buy in. This might sound strange, but about 3 or 4 episodes into your show, I began to feel something inside of me that said, you must go there. I joined all the PV Facebook groups, I watched endless YouTube videos, and researched the hell out of Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. At all at the same time continuing to listen to your show. I just knew this was the place for us. So back in November, I decided to take the first leap of faith, and I booked my family a Christmas vacation to Puerto Vallarta this coming Christmas and New Year's 2023. My wife, 2 daughters, 22 and 19, and myself are staying at a beautiful Airbnb in Ampas, up in the hills. It's gorgeous, and I wanted to make sure it knocked my family's socks off so that they would buy into PV like I had already done. When I showed them the photos, they were sold, and it's all we've been talking about since. There was one issue, though. December is a long ways away. So, being that my wife and I are turning 50 this week, April 20th and April 22nd, I thought I'd surprise my bride with a little 5-day getaway to PV to do some on-the-ground first-hand research prior to bringing the girls there. Long story short, I booked 5 days, March 13th through the 18th, at 105 Sailview, right in downtown Romantic Zone, and I surprised her with the trip for just the 2 of us on Valentine's Day. Yeah, boss move. I know. LOL. By the way, you picked some great places to stay. I gotta tell you that. Anyway, here, to continue, my wife, Jody, knew I was already obsessed, her words, with everything Puerto Vallarta, so my endless research had put her mind at ease about the typically stereotypical misconceptions about Mexico, specifically those surrounding safety issues. Upon arrival, it didn't take long for her to realize something special was going on here. She was sold. We hiked to the Mirador to start every day, explored the streets and shops of Zona Romantica, Centro, Cinco de Diciembre, drank at all the spots I'd researched, ate the best food at so many different restaurants, walked the beaches as far south as we could go, and had a truly unforgettable little vacation. The weather was perfect, the people were as friendly as you described, the vibe was perfect, and we just loved everything about it. So yeah, it was as fun as I had hoped. A travel update, he says, last week I booked a full month, January 12th through February 9th, 2024, at Selva Romantica. Maybe because we're turning 50 or because we realize life's too short, but Jody and I decided to just go for it. We can both work from our computers, so we're going to see how it works out. And then the following year will most likely be a 3-month stint. We saw Selva Romantica when we were staying at Sailview and felt that that building was more our style. And when we looked online recently, sure enough, there was a beautiful studio available. Anyway, Barry, I should stop there for now. I know you got houses to sell and I got money to make so I can pay for these trips. I'd love to catch up with you again sometime and would absolutely be open to speaking to you in person if we happen to be in PV at the same time, which I'm sure we will at some point. Whether it's an interview or just to reminisce over cocktails, I look forward to chatting again one day. One last thing, we found the greatest little restaurant that you may want to check out. It's called Arriba. It's on Olas Altas, right beside Andales. It's just up a few stairs, and you can sit overlooking the street without being on the street. We ended up having breakfast there 3 out of 5 days because the food was incredible, and the service was spectacular. Alfredo served us, and he treats the restaurant like he owns the place, which he does not. Best coffee we had in PV, too. Apparently, it was another place before then. The name escapes me, but Arriba has been open for about 1.5 years, and they really made us feel special, and it'll be our home base each time we return. That's all for now. Thanks for letting me rant. Matt and Jody Lester, Ontario, Canada. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Matt. Thank you very much for listening, and thanks for taking the time to write such a detailed email. Matt has been bitten by that same bug that bit me in 1984, but I got to say that he's taken it to much greater heights than I ever did. You are my kind of guy, Matt. By the way, we will be going to your favorite little restaurant. We're going to be going to Arriba in just a couple of minutes. We're going to be talking with Marsha Blondin over there. A great place. It used to be called the Wild and Thirsty or Hungry Cougar, something like that before that. And before that, it was something else. But yes, as Ariba, they're doing a great job. Now, I have a couple other emails that I want to read, but that's going to be for another day. And also, I was going to have Marty. Marty was going to talk about tequila. Not just tequila, but the town tequila. Drinking tequila, staying in tequila, visiting tequila. But we're going to talk about that next week. This week we got 3, so let's get to them right now, shall we? Our first stop is Tile Park, where I ran into Natasha Moraga, and I asked her if she could fill us in on what's going on over at Parque de los Azulejos, Tile Park PV. And it really is hard to believe. She has been doing this project for years. I mean, it began in 2017. I had my first interview with Natasha in October of 2017, and I had her on the show. So that's been almost 5 years now. And what a difference she's made in the park. It is absolutely breathtaking. The benches, the columns, the planters, the walls. In case you don't know, they're all done in mosaic tiles. And not just, you know, here and there. I mean, this is all well planned. It is beautifully done. It is gorgeous. It glistens in the sun. And in the night, when the lights hit it, it sparkles too. It's really stunning. You need to walk through the park and experience it. You need to sit on a bench and just enjoy the sounds and the sights of the park. So, hey, let's go right now. Let's go to one of those tiled mosaic benches in Parque de los Azulejos, and let's have a talk in the park with Natasha Moraga. Parque de los Azulejos, Tile Park PV, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Natasha Moraga. How you doing, Nat?
Hola, Barry.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
You look great.
Thank you.
We're in the park. The park looks great.
Gracias.
Wow. Tell us what's been going on.
So it's been a very exciting season. We opened a volunteer program that ran through December through April, and we had over 200 people coming to volunteer. There's no cost. People would just show up, sign up, and we would put them to work. So we did a lot of work. It was lots of hands. Everyone was happy, and the project is finally doing what I intended it to do, which was building community. So now, like, people are hanging out, and they're making friends, and they go out to the beach or Rio barbecue together. Like, it's just creating this sense of belonging and community, and it's lots of fun.
Yeah, well, we need that here, right?
I agree.
A lot of it. So you've got a lot of new benches. What's your new favorite? Got any new favorites coming along here? Yeah, I know. She's going, they're all my favorite.
They're
okay,
all my
don't
favorites.
make me say that.
Well, I don't focus on the design, really. I like the story behind them, and each one is very special. But this year we did a New York bench, and it has ashes from the guy who's in honor of. So that makes it just more interesting.
Yeah.
And fun.
And you can sit with him.
Exactly.
Actually, really sit with him.
Yes, and you, like, I don't know, it just feels more personal.
Yeah. No, it does. And looking around the park, people are just, they're using it. You know,
Yes.
They're sitting on the benches and they're enjoying the beauty and listening to the birds. And
now it's an official stop for lots of the tours, the big cruises, and so yeah, it's getting attention. And I don't know, I just like being here. It feels good.
Well, it sure does. When you sit right in the middle too, and you just look around, and it's like tile everywhere. Just
360 degrees tiles.
Yeah. All right, so what's the plan? This is the end of the season, right?
Yes,
we're going to kind of call it quits for a little while, or?
So the plan is work until it starts raining, so whenever that happens. And we stop for the summer. I have a few plans, private installations during the summer. I have a trip going on.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Paris.
No, yes. Please come back.
For
Please
work,
come back.
well, not work, but I'm going to go have a mosaic artist retreat.
Nice.
With some very cool ladies that do tile work. So I'm going to learn a different technique. I'm always happy to learn something new. And do the private installations, and then we're back in November, and our volunteer program will start back in December, and I think that's going to be the last season.
I think so too. I think you're right on the precipice. You're almost there.
Yes, I'm enjoying the process, but I'm also very ready to be done.
I totally understand.
I'm getting
that.
old here.
I understand that. Well, the work that's been done here is amazing.
Gracias.
Talk about, are we still taking donations? Are we still doing that?
We're always taking donations. As you know, the park has been possible thanks to everyone's donations. I have people that work with me. They get paid. I mean, we're still doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's working out, and I'm very grateful.
All right. Well, keep that in mind, everybody, that there is a donation page when you go to the website for Parque de los Azulejos, right?
Yeah, or tileparkpv.com.
Thank you. All right.
So you can actually get tiles there. We stopped selling the tiles because it's our last season, but I think online there's still a few.
Okay.
So if you want some, you can get them online.
Hop on it while you can, because when it's done, it's done. She's
Yes.
not going to build another bench for you.
Hell no.
Anything else interesting and new that you want to share with us? Or?
Not really. It's been a really good season. People started to come back. I got to see all my friends that didn't come during COVID and pandemic times.
Yeah.
So lots of Canadians, lots of Americans. It was fun to see everyone. I mean, this town, I realize this town really makes sense when everyone's here. When it's summer, I'm friendless.
Wow.
No,
Oh.
I have my local friends, but those are locals and locas and
Yeah. Well, you're going to be in Paris too this summer,
Yes.
yeah? So that is pretty cool. Please send us all pictures. We want to see what's going down.
I'll send pictures. I already have my outfit and everything.
Really?
I'm just kidding.
You got your luggage with the Eiffel
Yes.
Tower on it. You're all ready to go. Natasha,
Yes.
what you've done here is amazing, and
Gracias, Barry.
our thanks to you, our hats off to you, and remember Parque de los Azulejos, and give if you haven't given, donate, because they still got to finish this park.
Yes, but we are, I think, probably 15-20% to go, which is very exciting. I am very eager to see the end product.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens.
Let's see
which is the next park.
Thanks, Natasha.
Thank you, Barry. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Nat. Thank you so much. And have a great time in Paris. I'll see you next season, and she will be putting the finishing touches on this park. You have done an incredible job, amiga. I got to tell you. I have pictures in the show notes. You can find them at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. When I post this today, this is the 23rd of May. If you go to the website to take a look, I might not have all of the pictures up. If you follow up and go the following day, I'll have everything up by then. All right. Now, next up, we have my dear friend, Marcia Blondin, and Marcia writes for the PV Mirror. Every time I'm in town, I hunt down Marcia, and I ask her if she'll join me for dinner. And so we do a lot of catching up when we get together for these dinners. We talk about the local comings and goings in Puerto Vallarta. We share stories and information, and I think that the two of us have a very, very special place in our hearts for this very special place that she writes about and that I talk about every week. So we share that and more, I think. She is so elegant. She dresses the part, and I usually look like a homeless dude when I'm walking around in Puerto Vallarta. So I do my best to bring something that I can actually be seen in public with her with. But I look forward to our dinners every single trip I come down. And this time, I insisted that we do an interview. Now, I've had Marcia on the show just briefly, just for a little itty-bitty moment. When I took the show to the Hotel Marsol, where they had their Friday market. I don't know, they maybe still have their Friday markets in the morning. But at that time, I think we just talked to her for maybe about 5 minutes. And then I interviewed her again over at Arte Viviente, where she was very active She still is active there, but not nearly as active as she was before. But then they moved, and so I couldn't use that interview. So this time, I asked her if she would just join me for lunch after we had dinner, and that we would have a real live interview. So let's go over to that place we were just talking about, up over on Olas Altas, to the second floor restaurant by the name of Arriba. Let's go up, let's go Arriba, and talk with my dear friend, Marcia Blondin of the PV Mirror in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Marcia, thanks for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
Tell my audience a little bit about yourself. Where are you from, and what was your path to Puerto Vallarta?
I'm from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I've been here for 31 years.
31.
Yes.
Who's counting? Wow, 31.
Yeah, 31. February 26th.
Yeah.
28th. 26th. I forget. One or the other.
But still the same amount of years.
Yes.
Come on. So you're from Canada and Alberta, and when did you discover your love for Puerto Vallarta? What was your first encounter like? Let's put it that way.
1986. My honeymoon. I got off the plane, my foot touched the ground, and I fell in love with Vallarta. It took me 5 years to get rid of him and come back.
Wow! All right, so that was a long plan, but it worked out.
It did. It took me 5 years.
Yeah.
To do the plan.
To do the plan,
Yes.
because he wasn't interested in living here.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah,
so I made a choice.
Yeah. All right, so that was, what year was that?
1991.
91, okay.
Yeah.
So you land here, did you plan to go to work? What did you plan to do?
No, I retired. I was 39, so I retired and then ended up within a year doing every job I ever had in my whole life, plus about 10 more that I never did before. So I've been extremely busy.
Yeah, no kidding. So,
Yes.
Yeah, you didn't just retire. You came here to work.
I didn't come here to work. I came to retire. I came to drink, read books, go to the beach every day. But it gets old after a while. So I just fell into all kinds of jobs.
All right. So what was your first one?
Well, I ended up living in a 7,000 square foot penthouse on the beach, on Los Muertos Beach, and ended up running the penthouse, renting it, and eventually took over all the maintenance of it and the maid's duties as well, because it rented for a lot of money every night, and I couldn't have cobwebs in the corners.
Right.
So I ended up doing everything. So that was my job for 17 years, was running this immense penthouse.
And do you want to tell everybody where that penthouse was?
Sure, Plaza Mar. Yes, right on the beach.
So prime location, the
Yes.
best location in all
Yes,
of Puerto Vallarta,
yes,
and you were there.
I was.
Wow,
Yes.
all right. So that must be an interesting story.
It was.
Yeah.
It is. It was. Yes.
Then, what was your next job? What did you do after that?
Well, I kind of lost that job when I fell during Hurricane Dean.
Oh.
Fell on my head. That was in 2007. And right across the street from Plaza Mar in the park, fell with my girlfriend and I. We were drunk as nits coming back from happy hour. And I fell, she fell on me, and my head did a couple of bounces off the cement.
Oh, wow.
And I probably would have drowned because there was about a foot of water under my head. And so I just I was very severely concussed.
Yeah.
For about 6 months, and somewhere in January, my boss told me I should find another place to live.
Oh, Yeah.
So I'm told, because I don't have any
You
recollection.
don't remember?
No, I don't.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So that must have been a shock. And how long were you injured?
Good 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah, I can put together about 2 weeks total. And I thought it would come back, but it never has. So it's just gone.
Yeah. Well, good. Yay.
Yeah.
So what'd you do next?
I was in Las Juntas y los Veranos for a couple of years. That's where the botanical garden is. And I got to know Bob Price, the founder of the gardens, during that sojourn.
And so you went to work with Bob?
No, I didn't, but not then.
Okay.
But I just was making jewelry from things I found in the jungle, which was all around me. And I would take it to the gardens and sell it, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. And you're still making jewelry?
I am, not with stuff I find in the jungle anymore, thank God.
No.
No.
What do you tell us about your jewelry? Tell us about what you make.
Well, the collars I make out of fabric, mostly that has been gifted to me. People give me their great-grandfather's silk ties because they're silk and they can't throw them away, but they can't wear them anymore. They look retarded. So I cut them up and I stuff them full of things and accent them and call them necklaces.
Yeah, well, they're beautiful. They're striking and
Thank
remarkable and all that stuff. And they look good on you.
Thank
I don't
you.
know if
They're
they look
fun.
good on me, but
Oh,
they look
they
good
would.
on
They
you. I
would
know they look
indeed.
good on my wife, for sure.
They would, yes, indeed. Indeed.
Okay, and then that's that's kind of a little side hobby. You used to sell them over at the market at
I used to be at Marsol Market,
Marsol,
yes,
yeah.
for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yes, I sold them there, and earrings, and, I make clothes and decorate shoes and, whatever.
well,
Yeah.
all
I
right.
don't shop retail, so if I need something, I make it.
All right. Or you go visit a Tangi somewhere.
Tianguis,
right?
yes.
Tianguis.
Yes, they are full of treasures. Indeed,
Yeah.
indeed.
All right, we'll talk a little bit about the local Tianguis because I know that you and your sister like to frequent them. So
Yes, every week if we can.
the you're a writer, right?
Yes.
You write for a local paper here.
Yes, for the PV Mirror for the last, I guess, coming up on 3 years now since the Vallarta Tribune closed.
Okay, so you were with the Tribune for how many years?
8.
8 years. Okay. And as what you have an article that you wrote for the Tribune? Is it the same? For
Yes,
the Mirror?
yes. It's the same title, From Here. It's just from me, just from whatever I want to write about, I write.
Yeah, but what you write about are things that are happening in town. You write a lot about the theater. You write a lot about new things, new venues, people coming and going.
Yes, yeah. I do write 2 columns in the height of season because I go to so many things. Comings and goings is reviews and previews of things that I've seen or I'm going to see because I know the actors or the directors or the singers or whatever.
Right.
So-
Okay, good. So give us like an example. I mean, of your column. Give us an example of your column. When you sit down to write it, you kind of look over your week and see what happened, and then you pour it onto the paper.
That's exactly what I do. I write down every place I go and the time, and then I write my column in reverse. I go back a week, and then I write. So you'll be in next week's twice from dinner last night and for lunch today. Yes.
All right. So tell people about the Mirror. When someone picks up the Mirror, what are they reading? What do they have there in their hands?
It's completely about Puerto Vallarta. Bucerias is over there. We don't care. So it's all about Puerto Vallarta. No politics. It's written for tourists.
Okay.
So there's nothing political whatsoever. If there's a federal election, the editor will announce the winner, but that's it. So it's just light, easy reading. sometimes it's pertinent. We have some very good writers. Some of them I brought from the Tribune when it closed. So it's everything is very personally written, but with an easy read for tourists who might want to find out a little bit more about life in Vallarta, to live here instead of vacationing here.
Yeah, and like a lot of people like do that once they get here. They decide that they want to live here.
They do, me included, and I am.
Yeah, you are. Lucky you.
Yes,
I'm
I know.
working on mine, but
I know.
I know. A little while before I get that going. What's it like having to have deadlines in Paradise?
I'm used to it. I usually don't do anything on Sunday except edit and write. I try, but every other Sunday there's something I have to see, so it's a bit of a. I figure it out. That's all.
Yeah.
I have a kind of fluid deadline.
Yeah.
So
that's good, right?
Yes, it is. It's self-imposed to get it done a day ahead, just in case something comes up.
Yeah, listen, I know how that goes. That's for sure.
Yes.
Of course, my deadline is whenever I can. My listeners actually go, okay, Barry, as long as you're not dead, that's fine. So, all right, let's move away. Let's move away from the writing and all that, and let's go out into town a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about what's happening in town right now. It's
May. It's gay.
It's May. It's gay. That's right.
Gay.
Yeah, we're having Gay Pride, right?
Yes, we are.
All right.
Yes.
So that's. Do you know the dates for that? Or?
I think the parade is the 26th. I think.
Okay.
I think it's going to be huge. Haven't had a parade in 2 years. So I bet every gay person in town is going to want to be in the parade or at least on the street watching it.
Right.
It's going to be great.
If you're not in town for May, you're missing out.
Exactly.
That's
it's
right.
a great time. It's the best month of the year, I think, for weather and activities. And, of course, every other day is a federal holiday in May.
Isn't it? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I love May. It's just starting to heat up a little bit, but it's nice breezes every time I'm here in May.
Perfect weather, yes.
Beautiful and breezy. Oh, wait a minute. It's the fan over here.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. All right, so that's going on. We got that in May. What about new venues? Do you have anything? I know that we've got some museums that are brand new here in town.
Yes, we have Art Vallarta has opened a new art museum. It's full of original Manuel Lepes and Colorina, Ada Colorina's dad, who taught her when she was a child, and Javier Nino, and more acquisitions coming weekly as Natalie Hurling, the director, can source them. Mm-hmm. So it's just always going to be in progress, which is super.
Yeah, is it going to be kind of rotating different displays?
Probably, sure.
I imagine.
Sure.
Yeah.
It will just unfold as it's supposed to go.
Yeah. Now, there's another museum on the island, on the Isla. What's with that? It's like across from Oscar's. It's like...
That's been closed for years.
What's with that? It's just not... It's not viable. It doesn't happen.
Run by the city, I believe.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's been closed for years.
Okay. All right. What about new restaurants, new things that are happening around town? Anything that you can share with us?
Restaurant Week is coming up.
Ah, okay.
Starting the 15th of May. They're not in October anymore. It's traditionally in May. Started out to be 1 week. It's now 3.5 weeks long, but still called Restaurant Week. And it's a really good opportunity for people to try restaurants that are terribly expensive or out of the way. I was going to go to the press conference next Wednesday, but of course I have Scrabble, so...
Yeah, you don't want to get in the way of that.
No.
All right, so Restaurant Week, yes. Restaurant Month is
Yes.
what we call it on
Yes,
the show.
yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's talk a little bit about it. Sorry, as long as we're talking about restaurants, let's talk about restaurants. Now I know that you've kind of changed your diet a little bit. You're more on the veggie side of things, but you've experienced all the restaurants around here. Can we talk about breakfast? Do you have a favorite breakfast spot in town?
I don't.
No, you don't
I
do
don't.
breakfast?
I do, but at home.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you make your own
I
breakfast
do.
and you like it a lot.
I do. Yes. It's like a lumberjack would be quite happy with.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
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 You wouldn't know it by looking at Marcia, by the way. You would not look at it at all. What about lunch? You got favorite spots for lunch?
Langostinos is always lovely on the beach. Cece's, Serrano's, always a favorite for food, but they're going to get blasted in my next column.
Go ahead, tell 'em.
Oh,
Go ahead, tell 'em.
the intrusive music. It's not pleasant. I go out so much, and all I want to do when I have an opportunity to have dinner with a friend is to be able to talk to them
Yeah.
without shouting.
Yeah. We had a never-ending string of mariachis and banda guys, and it was amazing.
Don't forget the ukulele.
Hey, come on now. Jack Johnson is great, the ukulele.
That wasn't Jack Johnson.
No, that was not Jack. That was, what is Jack in Spanish? I don't know. Joaquin, I don't know. How about dinner? Yeah, favorite dinner spots?
No.
No. Just like wherever you happen to go.
Yes.
Okay.
It's hard to get bad food in Vallarta anywhere. There's so many great restaurants.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah, there are. How about art galleries?
Well, Arte Viviente moved in February, so they've been at their new location for a year now. Time flies.
Yeah, it does,
Yes.
doesn't it?
Yes.
So the new location is in town. It's like
Yes,
right.
in Centro on Libertad and Matamoros. And it also is constantly in flux. New painters, new artists. It's a very interesting store.
Oh yeah, you do have to walk through it if you haven't been through there. It's got great things. I mean, every
Indeed.
time you turn around, it's like, oh, what's that?
Yes, it's 4 floors of fabulous for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Go there. Go
Yes.
there for sure.
It's wonderful.
If you were going to leave town for a day,
Why would I do that?
why not?
Well, actually, I do need to go to Guadalajara.
Yeah.
I need to go for a day. I need to fly in the morning and come back, maybe on the bus, because I'm running out of craft supplies and I can't find them in Vallarta.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And my sister's not due back until November, so I can't wait. I have to go.
You have to
maybe
go.
next week.
Yeah, you can do a solo trip, huh?
Maybe.
You gonna drag some friends along?
No, because it's strictly shopping. It's not fun. It's just brutal. Go fly from one end of Centro in Guadalajara to the next, and I have about 10 stores that I shop at that I know where they are. And there's millions more in between, but I don't dare.
Because you
Stop
know
and look,
these
because-
people and they know you, right?
Yeah, well, maybe.
Maybe. Well, where are these places in Guadalajara?
They're all in Centro. That's the only part of Guadalajara I've ever explored. And it's just fabulous. About a 10 or 12 block radius around Teatro Degollado and San Juan de Dios, and just amazing shopping. Amazing shopping.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I've been there like overnight. That's about it. Mm-hmm. While we were having a hurricane here, but it wasn't here. It was there.
Oh. Nice.
You remember Patricia, don't you?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That one. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
If you had a word of advice for a
Yes.
first-time visitor to Puerto Vallarta, what would it be?
Oh, boy. I would say keep your mouth closed and your ears open and your eyes open and just enjoy. This city is so glorious that, and as a matter of fact, somebody wrote me the other day, having read my column, and I had mentioned for people that live here to take care of our tourists, to welcome them with open arms and help them however we can with whatever they need. And this one gal wrote, and she said, well, I'm one of those that's coming down for the first time, and thank you for the welcome. So it's just, there's so much to see and so much to do. You'll never find a friendlier, happier place to visit ever, anywhere in the world. I'm sure of that.
If someone was coming in to port, let's say, and they had never been here, and let's say that you had a column to finish, you really didn't have any time for them, but you were going to go pick them up and you were going to take them to the one place that most represents Puerto Vallarta, where would you take them?
I guess it would depend on what kind of food they wanted to eat. But probably somewhere on the beach. There's tons of places on the beach. But Langostinos is a real favorite. And they give 10% of their proceeds to the Colina Spay and Neuter Clinic,
Yeah.
which they have neutered or spayed, thousands of animals in 10 years.
On purpose.
That on purpose.
That's right.
Yes, bless them.
Yeah, they're great.
They
One day I'll get Colette. One day I'll get her on the show.
Oh, you haven't done that yet?
Well, she's hard to track down. She is. I've probably left a box of cards at Langostinos.
Oh.
It's okay.
Well, if you were staying another week, you could come to bingo, because I guarantee you that's where she will be. But
You know, the last time I had to spend an extra week, it was not because I wanted to.
I know.
And I was cut off for my last trip because I had to spend that extra week here.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah, no, I can't do that again. If you had a word of warning, any kind of word of warning for a first-time visitor, what would that be?
Don't check your brains at the border. The alcohol is practically free and on every corner. I know so many people that have been drunk and drugged and robbed. Not a lot of people, but it happens. So you just really need to just be careful. Go out, and everybody has fun. But if you're going to drink, just do a glass of water every other drink you have. Just keep hydrated, and don't be stupid.
Right. And keep your drink in your hand.
Exactly. Oh, yes.
At all
Indeed.
times.
At all times.
Even
Go to the
if
bathroom.
you're sitting next to it.
Exactly.
If you're sitting next to it,
Yep.
it doesn't count.
No.
You need to be holding it.
Yes, indeed. Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Because
and
there are more of those happening in town.
Yes.
I have heard about them.
Yes. There's a lot of poor people coming into town, and COVID created a lot of poor people.
Yeah, it did.
And they have to eat too. So a tourist who's flashing around a lot of money and is a target, and just don't go there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. So you're doing a little bit more vegetarian kind of meals or meatless meals.
I am.
What kind of restaurants are you going to? What's your go-to lately?
Let's say that I'm a convenient vegetarian. If somebody slaps rare prime rib down in front of me, I'm afraid I will eat it and enjoy the hell out of it. But I am trying to make a concerted effort to not encourage huge agriculture. And I don't even know if that exists in Mexico to the same degree as it does in Canada and the U.S.
Yeah.
But it's just not right. It's just not right for the environment, or it's just not right.
So where you eating? What kind of places?
Well,
you
I
going?
eat a lot at home, but every restaurant in Vallarta, they will happily make, for example, I come here to Ariba and often have beans and a salad or soup and just throw some lettuce at me or just some broccoli and cauliflower steamed. They're happy to do it. Any restaurant will do that. So,
Yeah, that's good.
And we have some good vegan restaurants, I'm told.
Yeah.
I've had a couple. There's one, Vegetalia, on Corona Street. It is absolutely brilliant food.
Yeah.
Amazing.
What do you order when you go there? You get the pizza? What do you get?
No, I keep trying to have the pizza, but I haven't succeeded because I always have the puttanesca, pasta puttanesca, which is hooker food. Puta is prostitute in Italian, but it's quick and fast and down and dirty, and it's fabulous.
Yeah.
And they have gluten-free bread, which I'm not gluten intolerant, but they and you can choose if you want vegetarian, vegan, or full-out regular food, but they don't have meat of any kind at all in the restaurant.
In the
So,
restaurant, yeah.
It's fabulous.
I had a lasagna there the other day. It's the first time I ate there.
Oh,
But the owner seemed like a really nice guy,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
the restaurant was beautiful inside, real nice inside.
It's tiny,
Yeah, I mean,
but
it's
lovely.
cute, not
It is
beautiful.
cute.
It's cute.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
I shouldn't
cute.
say beautiful, all right?
Yeah.
Don't expect like chandeliers, all right?
Yeah, no chandeliers.
But speaking of chandeliers, speaking of like fancy, really cool, like places with views and history, and what would that restaurant be?
I guess Casa Kimberly, but it doesn't resemble Casa Kimberly where I used to party 100 years ago. But it's beautiful and it has a lovely view, and the food is good.
Yeah.
Take your platinum card.
Yeah,
but-
be ready, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not afraid.
Yes, no, they're not afraid.
Well, if you don't drink, you can cut your bill in half. So at least
That's
you look
true.
at it that way.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's return. Let's return to Puerto Vallarta, right here where we're sitting. Let's talk a little bit about how we find your column.
Oh, it's published every Friday, the PV Mirror. Hard copies in season, and then in the summer, it's published online every week. So PV City Paper, I believe, on Facebook.
Okay.
And it's published every week online, but only hard copies in season.
Okay,
So
excellent.
end of May, that will be that.
Okay.
So.
All right, well, good. Well, then I'll have a link to the PV Mirror, and you'll find it in the show notes at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. You'll see Marcia's smiling face. You will see some of the places that we talked about. We'll have links to those as well. And it's really been a pleasure having you here, Marcia. Nice to have a friend come on the show, and, well, I want to thank you for allowing me to introduce you and the PV Mirror, your column, to my listeners. I truly appreciate that.
Perfect. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Thank you so much, Marcia. I have a link to the PV Mirror in the show notes, as well as pictures of these necklaces that Marcia makes. Her articles, her column is really a great way to stay in touch with Puerto Vallarta. And her writing is excellent, and her necklaces are stunning. I've seen people offer to buy them right off of her neck. Really. Anyway, you can find a great selection of these beautiful pieces of art that she makes over at Arte Viviente, over at the Arte Vallarta Museum, the new Museo in El Romance, and we're going to be there. We're going to go to the museum in just a couple of weeks. We're going to visit there. And she also has, she said she's going to have them available online really soon. So I'll make an announcement when she tells me about it and let you know about it, and let you know how she is going to be able to deliver them to you. And I forgot to talk with her about the Tianjis. We forgot to talk about those Tianjis. We talked just a little bit about them, but the one that she likes is the one that I talked about last week over in Mojoneras. They have them on Sundays, and it's just full of everything. I mean, anything that you want to buy in the entire world, they've got it over in Mojoneras. Now, I also embedded a video in the show notes. There's a couple of these guys that I follow on YouTube. They visit all these places all around, and it's in Spanish, but it's in the show notes, and they do a really funny tour of the Tianjis over in Mojoneras. So you got to check it out. It's in the show notes. And again, I want to thank you, Marcia. Thanks for finally coming on the show. I'll give you a big hug when I see you next time. All right, next up, let's visit with Guy Weeks and the Isla Cuale Restoration Project. Now, as you remember, how could you forget, if you were alive and you were following news in Puerto Vallarta last August 30th, the rains from Hurricane Nora came down the Cuale and they just devastated the town. The area around the Rio Cuale for sure. We know about the road collapses, of course, and the bridge collapsing, but we heard very little about the Isla Cuale itself. The part of the island above the collapsed bridge was just totally swamped, and it was covered with just literally feet of sand and rocks and debris, and it just needed to be dug out. Yeah. Now I'm going to let Guy talk about it, but the way I found Guy was through his many Facebook posts. Now here's this dude, this regular guy who wanted to do something. He wanted to help out his adopted city, and boy, did he ever get involved. I mean, it's amazing what he's done so far. And his love and his passion and his initiative, and mostly his cause to make Puerto Vallarta's city center beautiful again by restoring and preserving one of the last green spaces in town, really caught my eye. So I think we need to talk to this guy. Let's go right now. Let's go to a bench at the base of the Iguana Bridge over on Isla Cuale, and let's meet a man on a mission who's hoping to bring people together to make what's kind of an ignored and forgotten piece of this town part of the puzzle again. So let's meet Guy Weeks, the Isla Cuale Restoration Project, and his Facebook page, Puerto Vallarta Isla Cuale Activities in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Guy, thanks for coming on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm glad to show off the last green space in Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to be here, Barry.
Excellent. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from, and what was your path that led you to Puerto Vallarta?
Okay, gotcha. Let's see. I taught for 30 years outside of Los Angeles in a wonderful district called Downey Unified. I taught history and government, politics, and been always believed in being active in your community and places you love. It's a matter of a lot can be done with we, not I, and we call it in political terms political efficacy, a belief that individuals have power, and we try to use that power to benefit the community. And that's why in the States, anyhow, there's lots of community groups that you don't see elsewhere, is because there is that high degree of political efficacy that a few committed people can get an awful lot done. So I taught for 30 years in politics at Downey Unified, and I grew up in Torrance, another suburb.
Yeah,
and,
surfer dude, huh?
Yes, I actually was, yes. 13th Street in Hermosa Beach.
See, I knew it.
Junior lifeguards and up every morning. And now I look at those big waves and say, how did I do that?
How did you do that?
And I grew up in Hermosa Beach and Manhattan Beach later and the Green Store and so forth. So some of you who live in that area might know what I'm talking about, 13th Street and the Green Store. But anyhow, I taught and really enjoyed it, working with the kids. Prior to that, I worked a little bit of time in politics and realized working on campaigns that I loved working with kids. So I taught 30 years in Downey, and then about the time the pandemic hit, I retired and got here as soon as I could when they opened things on up, and a world of difference. And I'd been coming to Vallarta for, 15 years or so. Knew knew I was going to retire here, knew I would be happy here because as a teacher you get the summer, so I had extensive stays, where I could stay for long periods of time and know that I wouldn't be bored to death. And, of course, my initial few weeks here once I retired was getting my apartment ready. I live up in Gringo Gulch, and I have what's called a Mexican penthouse, but it had nothing in it, no kitchen cabinets, no ceiling fans, nothing. So, meanwhile, I stayed down in the Romantica zone as I fixed up the apartment. And I do have the apartment for a really good rate, and I love it. And I thank God every morning. Wonderful big balcony and overlook the mountains and the beaches. And but I had known this because I'd been coming here for years. I had known about this apartment building near it and knew that artist friend of mine, he's passed on since, he lived in the building, and I loved the views and the mountain breezes that come through. And so I had a friend of mine who just, in fact, walked by, Guillermo, keep an eye on that building for me. So he called me a few months before I retired, said, it's opening. And I said, go check it out. And he come back and he says, I think you'll like it, and you can't guess what it is per month, but you're going to love it. And I said, if you say it's great and I know that building, please grab it for me. So he did. So again, I thank God every morning. I fixed it up, made it my own. And then let's see, I was home visiting Mom and the hurricane struck. And I got back here as soon as I could. And my buddy at Las Borazas, Jorge, I thought I was anxious to go see him.
So Las Borazas is
a restaurant, a Mexican restaurant on the island. He serves some of the best margaritas in town.
Okay, see, I don't know this.
Yeah, excellent. He serves food too, but the margaritas are killers.
Okay,
one's good, two's better, but please, I don't recommend you having three because you won't make it to the gym the next day. Yeah, and so I was anxious to see him, and they had everything taped off on the island, yellow tape and police, and I used my best Spanish to try to get past the police, and they let me. And sure enough, I see Jorge down here with a bucket and a shovel, and because we were 3 feet under sand and 5 feet underwater in parts.
It was unbelievable, wasn't it?
Absolutely unbelievable. And so I started helping him. What do you do when you see your buddy in trouble? And I started helping him clear out the sand. And he speaks a little English and I a little Spanish, but we got things done that day. Went home with blisters on my hands and said, we need help. And so I put a help out on Facebook, and Vallarta Food Bank responded. And it took us 25 days with an average of 20 people a day out here cleaning up all the sand off the pathways and opening the hurricane. We never saw the city, not one day. No. And nobody from the city, nothing. And we cleaned off the whole cultural center and the pathway down to John Houston. John Houston's statue was covered all the way up to his shoulders in sand.
Wow. Oh, wow. That's deep.
Right.
Who knew?
Yeah.
That's a lot of sand. You guys have moved a lot of sand.
We did, tons.
Wow.
And that sort of led to the project that I'm working on now. But my love for Vallarta has gone back for, like I say, like a lot of people, for years. And what do they say? The best laid plans of mice and men, or something to that effect. Well, in my hand, it did come true. The idea that I had plans to retire here, and it's come true, and I'm very happy. So those who are thinking about it, they should. And did you perhaps want me to talk about the idea of how relieving it was to retire?
Let's hear about it, brother.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that's just like a godsend. In the States, we're kind of driven by money and work, and money. And it was just like a weight off. I just had this sense of my health declining. I'd gained weight, stressing out, especially during that part in politics and all of that. And to just kind of sell off everything, my car, everything. And I came here with one suitcase,
You did?
Yes, one suitcase.
Did you guys hear that? One suitcase. I hear stories of you guys dragging, a mountain of those, but Guy did it with one.
One suitcase. I said, that's it. I'm selling everything off. I boxed a few boxes of old clothes, or clothes I thought maybe I eventually could, and I might be able to, could fit into. I'm one who always carries some extra weight. Well, I've lost weight since I've retired. So when I go back to Ma's house, they're in her garage, some what I call skinny clothes,
Yeah,
and
we all have those.
I might be able to get into those now, because that is one of the things when you relieve stress and you start eating better and fresher, because the fresh food here, and it's not like it's all full of chemicals like the States, and you can go to the local markets for fine fruits and vegetables and meats, and and you walk everywhere because, again, I don't have a car nor car insurance. That's a relief.
That is.
And you walk everywhere. The cabs are relatively cheap, or Uber's cheap. They have a great bus system here for, a couple of dimes. And it's like, it really is. It really is just totally a much a simpler life and much less stress.
Yeah.
And you just have to disassociate yourself from all those things we're sort of programmed to believe we need to have, because you really don't. Although I still have 2 cell phones, one for my mom from the U.S. and a Mexican cell phone for here, because everybody uses WhatsApp. And but other than that, it's about as complicated as my life gets now with a couple of cell phones. And like I say, you walk everywhere and eat better, and I feel better. I've lost nearly over 20 kilos, and close to 45 to 50 pounds. I had a much bigger belly, and now I did bring down 2 sets of short pants, one for when I did lose weight, because I did plan on losing it, and now I'm in the second set of pants.
Yay!
Which is good.
It is good. It is good. And your skinny stuff is waiting at your mom's, so
yes,
you're all
right.
set for that.
So, and then that's always an adventure, to pulling that out and saying, okay, did I make it?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people get involved in projects and in community efforts in order to keep out of the bars around here. You don't want to be there all day when you move to Paradise, because you can be dead after a couple of years.
Yeah, it leads me to a funny story. It's about the idea there's a difference between vacationing here and living here.
Yeah.
And I was, the cigar factory is near my house, and it's a fine restaurant that serves wonderful cuisine and drinks and coffee, and people love to sit out and smoke cigars. And there was 4 or 5 older retired gentlemen that I would converse with when I first was down here. And then when I went back and I come back again, and I said, there was only 2 or 3 of them. And one was extremely healthy looking, looked like he had lost some weight. And I says, what happened? And he says, well, the 2 out of the 3 other buddies are dead, and one is very ill. And I started going to the gym, and I quit going to happy hour. He says every day we were going to drink, and once they retired, going to drink from 4 to 8 or whatever. And it just mounted up, and I could see the writing on the wall. And I had always been going to the gym, and I didn't really, I'm not very much of a drinker. And so he says, yeah, I'm going to the gym just like you.
Yes. People got to start thinking about their health.
Health, that's right, because there's a different lifestyle here. When you do come on vacation, you used, it's fine that you let your hair out a little and you just, drink a little more and party a little more. But once you live here, you have to think of it in a different lifestyle. So that's what I even try to explain to visitors and guests that come in. I'll go with you a few places, but I live here now, and I've done that 6 times, and I've been there 5 times, and I'll show you where it's at, but go knock yourself out. I don't need to go out partying every night.
Exactly right. Yeah, that self-preservation thing kicks in.
Yes, that's right.
All right, so as we're talking about the project, let's talk about your project. We are sitting right now at the base of a staircase that goes up to
Gringo Gulch.
Gringo Gulch, right? Mm-hmm. Is that where you started, obviously you moved a lot of sand.
Right, yeah, we moved a lot of sand, and I was going up the staircase with my friend Dr. Mitch. He has a beautiful home right at the top of the bridge, and he was complaining and talking about how the bridge, they weren't maintaining it. And the paint was horrible condition, and the stairs looked really dirty and, full of filth. And the lights had been knocked out, and now there was no electricity. And being one that I do believe in having little causes, it helps give me purpose in life. I said, hey, Ernesto at the Art Center has been talking about the island. So I said to Dr. Mitch, maybe I'll get together with him and see what we can do. So the first, when I got together with Ernesto, and he had great visions for the island. He's, again, Ernesto is he runs the Art Center, him and Kiko here, resident artist. If you ever see murals around town, they've done a lot of it. And he'd been talking about that before with me, but I was just kind of like too busy with other things, or my mind was on, wasn't ready yet, And so I went to talk to him, and one thing led to another. We started getting together, and then with the Dr. Mitch, the few of us, and more and more people would come along, see that we were cleaning the bridge or putting lights up. They wanted to get involved. Then we started to create a little cacti garden, and one thing led to another, and pretty soon was people walking by. One of my friend now is Sunny, and I call her and her husband Roberto. Now she has an expert in horticulture. So one thing led to another. So it started a little bit with the bridge and cleaning it, and we had a paint party, and we painted it, and we had power washing. We put solar lights up. We got a gentleman, a supporter, that donated the light for us. What was his name? I forgot.
Clark.
Clark. Yes, Clark.
Yeah.
I know him as Clark.
Yeah.
That's right. Clark donated, and really interesting fellow. Has a long history here in Vallarta. And then, so different peoples come together, and then we created several different. One thing led to that, and then we said, "Hey, look at all the down by the bridge. We need to kind of restore that to the vegetation and put some pizzazz into it, some color." And everybody was agreed, and a lot of community support. And people saw the need, and so we started, with what called a friendship garden. And then, of course, I'm big on action. If people are going to donate, and it's through PayPal because you can't use GoFundMe here, people start donating, and I'm like big on let's get it done so people can see that we're doing stuff, just not hoarding people's donations,
Yeah.
We're actually having some action and some work being done. And then we got enough donation in to hire a full-time maintenance person, because that's the one thing is you don't want to just bring stuff up and then not think about maintenance. And we have it at least for a year, maintenance, and then we're going to become official charity. That's someone enjoying the bridge, by the way, some young little feller that just came up. He was saying, yay, yay. He was congratulating us on the wonderful job we've done here on the island.
That's right.
Iguana Bridge is what it's called, built in 2012.
Uh-huh.
And so one thing led to another, and then we all got together and tried to create sort of a vision and a plan for what we wanted. And we hope to have a nursery here. We hope there's going to be open space for festivals. There's going to be a classroom environment. There's going to be a cat pod. A lot of people here love the cats for a feeding pod.
Uh-huh.
That'll be done here soon. And so it'll look pretty good. And we've just met recently with Across the Way, the owner of Babel Bar, and they want us to help them. And we also have a lot of fruit trees here. I don't know. Come on down and take a look at what we've done. And we're about 60%, 70% done of what we want to do on this side of the bridge.
You're going to need some funds to keep it up, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So what's the name? You've got a Facebook page, yes?
Yes, called Puerto Vallarta, Isla Cuale Activities. Isla Cuale Activities. Or you can always friend me, Guy Weeks, and I'll send you on over. I'll send you a link to join.
Okay.
But anyhow, it's the last green space here in central Puerto Vallarta, and there's been a lot of clamoring over the years for them to want to build condos here or something like that. So that's why we thought it was important to organize too, was so we can preserve the last green space. It really is what we call a diamond in the rough here, a very tranquil, and it makes me so proud to see people come by now and take pictures with our friendship garden and wander through, and real sense of what we can do as a community, and it's something that makes me very proud, and wanting to continue this and to see it come to its fruition. It doesn't mean it's not without its trials and tribulations, and I have sometimes lost my patience and frustrating dealing with the governments and the different peoples and contractors here because of this build pipes through the island because of the storm, Hurricane Nora. And so it takes a lot of patience, that's for darn sure.
Right.
Luckily, I learned that with my kids.
Well, that's being a teacher. God bless you, brother. I was going to tell
thanks.
you this. But, I mean, it's taking shape. It really is. And I can tell, as it matures, it's going to be even more fantastic. Now, you said you're going to have a classroom kind of a situation out there? Yeah.
Underneath some really big, beautiful trees on the river. We're going to create sort of an L-shaped classroom. And we'll be teaching, we already have people willing to do it, teaching English and basic science. We have a couple of, I call him Professor Jorge, a gentleman that's an environmentalist and activist here. He's working on a project up north. North of us to protect areas, and he's working on that now. But he's like a resident teacher, and he'll teach the students like basic environmental science. And then we have several volunteers willing to teach the young guys, young gals English, and they already have connections for that here on the island. So that's down the line. That's our plan. So anyhow, that's the plans for the outdoor classroom. And then we also a nursery we're going to create, and the nursery is going to be for the locals, different little spices and onions and tomatoes and all that. And that's down the way. That's another plan.
Oh wow, that sounds pretty cool. I think I remember you had Rodolfo come in and sing to you guys.
Right, yeah. I've known Rodolfo through a friend of mine, Marie, who Rodolfo needed some money for surgery, and she held several concerts, and I helped out with that. So when it came time to have wanting some entertainment, we're going to have like a paint party for the bridge, I thought of my friend Rodolfo. And so through Marie, we contacted him and had him come. And so while everybody was painting, Rodolfo was up on the bridge with his wife, and they were up there singing, and everybody enjoyed it. In fact, one person said, because the first music we had was on a boombox from down below, was all in English, and one person messaged me and says, "This is Mexico, and it's a paint party. Where's the Spanish music?" And almost within 10 minutes, there's Rodolfo singing.
Oh, wow.
And he messaged me back, says, "That's it. This is Mexico. We want Spanish music."
You were quick, boy. You acted fast.
Yeah, by coincidence, yes. With God's good luck.
That's right.
Anyhow, so he did a wonderful job here. And then he stayed afterwards for some other entertainment that we had here. Some local artists. As most know, the city is full of a lot of good artists here, and singers, entertainers, and painters and so forth, more and more so, as well as cooks, all that art, right?
Yeah.
And so afterwards we had a little celebration, and everybody partook, both the Mexican residents here and what I call, they would be the Vallartanese and the Vallartians. I call them Vallartians, all the gringos from all over the United States and elsewhere in Canada that come here and land here from other places. Refer to them as Vallartians.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, we'll talk a little bit about how people can help and how people can join. Obviously, the best way I'm guessing is to just contact you on Facebook through your Facebook page there.
Right, GUY Weeks, WEEKS, or again Puerto Vallarta : Isla Cuale activities. Yeah, and how they can help is we have events where we ask for volunteers. Some of the events require heavy-duty labor, and usually a lot of our residents are retired, and the heavy-duty labor, shoveling sand is not something they
in the heat and in the humidity.
Right,
also.
Right. Don't feel fit. So, but there are plantings, cacti garden plantings, and down the line, we have a volunteer coordinator, and so about once a month we try to have some volunteer activities. The last one was last week, and it was a cacti planting. And we have our cacti garden, and you can just bring down your cacti if you have any and plant it. Fine with us. It is a community garden, and we want people to feel free to plant. Not take, but to plant. And then, of course, obviously we need funds, especially hiring. The big deal for the last couple of weeks is hiring a lot of locals to take sand away. Hopefully we're going to get a bobcat. I'm waiting on that. Manana, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We got it for a couple hours, and then it broke. So hopefully it needs to finish the job, and we'll get it here to help us. And then I'll feel really good because that bobcat, it's a mini tractor.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You can move several tons of sand a lot more easily than with shovels and wheelbarrows.
Correct. And then our other project that we just started was one I'm excited about, and it seemed to generate a lot of excitement on the internet, was a mural project. On the other side of the island, there are several spots of graffiti, which we will remove probably next week, maybe sooner than that. And the new tunnel. The new tunnel is just waiting for graffiti, we think.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's waiting for something.
Yeah, and we want to beat it and actually have art rather than graffiti, and most graffiti people respect art. And so what we plan on doing is asking some of the best muralists to put what we call mobile murals up. And they will be temporary murals, 8 of them, but they will be secured under the tunnel. And we hope to do that in early June. And then within the week, we're going to put an advertisement up on the other side of the tunnel so that people, tourists and others who are coming to the tunnel will see, because a lot of people don't understand. They go into the tunnel and they just see 2 or 3 shops and think that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't
keep
know.
Walking. They don't keep moving.
No, they don't know there's a beautiful iguana bridge. They don't know the cultural centers here, Las Barrazas, and now a restaurant with Indian cuisine at the Old Babel Bar, and a garden. So we're going to make sure that they can see with an arrow, hey, keep going.
It's a great idea. You got to tell people there's stuff down there.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, you know that if there was a Starbucks at the end of this street, that there'd be a sign right there.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, hey, let's leave the island for just a little bit.
Sure.
Let's go into town. Let's talk about what people like most when they come here, and that's drinking and eating.
Sure.
All right, so maybe you could share with us what your favorite breakfast, lunch, and dinner places are.
Oh, sure.
Let's start with breakfast. Give me something there.
Well, I have a 2 or 3. I tend to like the local. We went to a great place this morning, by the way.
We were at Meat Cafe. Yeah.
Yes, Meat Cafe, and I really enjoyed that. It said a new favorite back, but I have several. And some of them I don't even know the name because they're just little hole in the walls. And I like different things about them. There was one that moved. It used to be near Pharmacy Guadalajara, and it's moved down the street. And gosh only knows, we go there a couple of times a week. They have the best beans, by the way. Believe it or not, I normally don't like beans, but down here, some places that make the best beans.
You got to search them out. They're smooth,
right?
and delicious. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm not a bean lover.
Yeah.
And so I usually get huevos mexicano or an omelet. So there's that, and I, honest to God, what you have to do is, I'm not a big one on the tourist traps or they're fine, but I like to go to the teeny little Mexican places that have, and you can tell a good one if they have Mexicans in there eating. So for breakfast, there's that at Soho's. Most people around here know Soho's. And across the street, an equally good one, and I honestly don't know the name there. And then I go sometimes to the Cigar Factory. But I really don't get into the Romantica zone, and if I have preference, I stay out of there, certainly for breakfast.
Yeah.
If it's too crowded as a local, my tourist friends go in there, and that's when I tend to go in there. But in Central, there is dozens, and also across from Iquili Cerdán, across from the island, and Emilia Zapata. I'm not sure what they call this area.
Yeah, this would be Emiliano Zapata.
There's just all these little wonderful, and I just discovered wonderful little breakfast places, and for $5-6, you get a full meal plus my green juice.
Yeah.
And
wait a minute. What do they put in that thing?
I don't know, but at first I didn't like it. But I heard
you heard it was good for you. So
I heard my mother's voice say it. It's good for me. And being that I got older and I started worrying about the liver, because down here you have too many margaritas I never drank before, I said I better start drinking some of this green juice.
Yeah.
And now I like it. And they make it a little different every place. I think they put cranberry juice or orange juice in it some places, but obviously all the greens, the spinaches and things like that. And I think whatever they have handy that's green they throw in, and some pineapple in some places. And we had a good one this morning.
Yeah.
Right. And so... Yeah, breakfast, I think you can't go wrong at a lot of these small little places.
Yeah,
you just can't go wrong. These little mom and pop places, And I encourage travelers to patronize these places rather than the big establishments, because these people really appreciate it. And you get a fine meal,
Yeah.
Especially for the price they ask for. It's like
home
can't
cooking,
believe it.
baby. Home cooking.
That's right.
Yeah.
And favorite restaurants for dinner. Well, family owned one that I like to go to is Tony's Please. And if you've been here for a while, almost all of you know Tony's Please. I do like that one. I love the enchilada suizas there. I think it's because they have lots of cheese. And one thing that I'm used to being an Americano, I know a gringo, is you like cheese on our chicken enchiladas. And then let's see here, Adobe's. Adobe's is a family-owned. In fact, he worked for a big chain or a big restaurant before the father. It's family-owned. And they have very reasonable prices. What is it called? Chili Nagata? Chili Nagata?
Mm-hmm. Chili Nagata.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and it's 99 pesos, and you get cream, soup, bread, and like hibiscus, drink. All for 99 pesos, lunch special.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
$5.
$5, you guys. Yeah.
And it's out of this world, so that's like one of my favorites, But again, I tend to choose off the beaten path type of places.
Yeah. Not
the stuff that you're going to see on the Malecon and the other. And that's what I challenge almost anybody to do. I know sometimes people are afraid, am I going to get sick here or that, and I've never had any problem with any of them. Just get the bottled water if you're concerned, but the rest of the food is fantastic, out of this world. So, you walk by those, you just get out of the resort and come to Central and walk the streets and stop in at a authentic, more of authentic Mexican food place than you would find at some of the chains,
Yeah, definitely.
Good Thai food restaurant, too, here is Siam.
Siam Thai, yeah, Michael Buford.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. How about if you were going to go for a date night? Where would you go?
Well, to tell you, not a date night, but a date day, only because I don't believe in the usual movies. You don't really talk and converse and laugh. Laughter is important for me. One of the first places, if I'm taking somebody out, is I like to go with them to see how they react, is the zoo. They have a great zoo here, and it's interactive, and you get, for $5, you get a bag of food. I advise you get one or two of them. There's a couple of spots you can, and you get to feed the animals. I realize that like many people, have difficulty with zoos. My understanding is, though, they have adopted a lot of these animals. They're unwanted. They seem to be in very good condition to me. I have a little problem with the pictures of the tigers. I just don't partake in that, just like I don't do the dolphin thing unless they're in the wild. Just my personal politics, I'm not going to tell others what to do. But I love the interaction with the zoo, and they all seem very healthy to me and active. I go in the mornings. So I love that because there's always a good laugh. One of the animals, or whether it's the pink-butted, red-butted monkeys, or some animal doing some crazy thing. We had a camel. My buddy was trying to feed it with a carrot. My boyfriend at the time, feeding with a carrot, and he got too damn close to the camel with the carrot, and the camel coughed at him or sneezed or whatever they do, and he just my boyfriend fell on the ground and turned white, and he was just sick. And his mom happened to be with us,
funny.
And family. Yes,
not funny, right?
Yeah, no, not funny for him, but we were all in stitches, And so and it's not a big zoo, so it's a couple hours to get through the thing. And so that would be one outing. The other is, of course, you can go on several hikes. Hike along across, starting Los Muertos Beach if you want to, and just go with a small hike across the way to Cochichinas. You can go on the larger hike, going from Boca to all the way to Las Animas. So there's plenty of places to hike. There's a waterfall. What's that called? Malo Narega? Palo
something.
Yeah, Palo Maria.
Yeah.
Palo Maria.
Yeah.
And you have to look online for that and get off a certain spot. Again, that's a lot of rock hopping. And I've only gone up to the first waterfall. But again, so there's lots. Kayaking, zip lining, all those things that I enjoy, being active. And, of course, if you want to just do the normal thing, the best theaters in town are at Isla. At the Isla
at the mall, right?
Isla Mall.
Yeah.
And they have the VIP theaters, where you get big old seats that relax, and they serve you food. Food isn't that good. I would just stick to the popcorn,
yeah.
Right? Yes, I've learned that over the last couple of times.
They can't ruin that,
right? Yes, and the drinks,
Yeah.
But anyhow, it's a very
that's a good summer. That's a good summer thing to do when it's hot.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, at our local Galleria Mall, they have everything in there, and they also, some people don't know, they have a wonderful casino in there. So during the summer,
Really?
when it's hot, if you like sports like I do, and especially in September, football season starting, they have a motion casino in there, and it plays all the games. And of course, you can bet on them if you want to. So that's another little out of the way outing. People don't realize that's here for us sports fanatics. You know, go watch the games.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
So there.
Yeah.
I got to get over there.
Yeah. Years ago, they used to have all the sports at El Torito.
Right.
Down in the Romantica zone.
Right.
And the owner got ill, and his son took over things, and eventually I think they sold that location. I think Torito's still in the marina.
That's right.
But that was the place to go to for sports.
Oh, yeah, that was a sports spot. All the time. All the time.
So I missed that
Great
place.
ribs.
Yeah, great ribs.
In the day.
Yes.
Well, now they're doing chicken over there. So they're doing chicken wings.
Right.
What if you had 3 days off? Where would you go?
That's interesting. I'll tell you where. No longer Sayulita. I'd go up and head a little further than Sayulita and go to San Pacho, or some people call it San Francisco. And I can't remember the little city 20 minutes south of San Pacho. That's, in fact, on the next trip I have. My boyfriend's Colombian, coming in from Colombia. In fact, we're going to do a little 3-day trip, so that's why it's on my mind.
Excellent.
A couple of nights, and go up that way. Stay away from Sayulita only because it's gotten too crowded and too
Very crowded.
And everybody says
it's Venice Beach, bro.
Right. Yeah. So
I mean, we all came from there, right? We just came from there,
right? Yes. Right. So I thought, okay, go up that way. Would be what I'd want to do. The other is, and I save these stuff on my phone, my iPhone. These cities you hear about stuff. But during the summer, there is you have to take a bus to it. But maybe you know it. Within the mountains, and it's a cooler climate, there's a city with a lake.
Oh, Chapala.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's on my list for would be a 3-dayer.
Yeah.
A couple nights stay. But I think the city has something for everybody. But don't tell anyone because we're getting enough people here.
It's a secret with me, as you know. If you had a word of advice for a first-time visitor that's coming to Puerto Vallarta, what would it be?
Don't be scared. I notice some people when they get off the cruise ships and they have everybody barking at them or at the airport, they're a little intimidated and scared. They hear, how unsafe Mexico is. Puerto Vallarta, I feel safer here. I lived in Long Beach most of my time. I taught for 25 years. I feel safer in Puerto Vallarta than I ever did in Long Beach at all hours of the night. I do, though, like most people, I take precautions if I'm coming home after midnight because taxis are so cheap. I certainly would have done it in Long Beach, but taxis are very expensive and not available.
Right.
Well, here taxis are everywhere, and there's only $4, $2 for me to get home. So if I'm going out after midnight, I'll take the taxi home. What's a couple bucks?
Right.
And they're right there waiting for you, right when you step outside the bar or the restaurant that you're at. So you're it's kind of foolish not to take the taxi home at night. And not that I've never heard much violent crime I can't tell you any violent crime. I hear petty crime where somebody got something stolen or some pipes stolen, for the metal, or somebody stole a VCR or something like that. But I never hear anybody get hit over the head or stabbed or any of that. Never hear about any of that type of crime here. And if it is, it's obviously it's very rare.
Yeah.
Because I'm around talking to everybody. So I've heard of some crime recently, but it was all petty stuff.
Right. Right. Exactly.
So I don't think you have
crimes
much to worry about.
Of convenience.
And so I say, get out. Don't be afraid. Get out and see the city. Get out of the resort and see the city and not fear. And go up to Iguana Bridge and go step off the beaten path.
Right.
You have nothing to fear. Right. And people are friendly here. Wonderful people. They'll help you.
If you had a friend that was coming in maybe on the cruise ship and, you didn't have enough time, you had to come back to the island and do some work and stuff like that, but you needed to take them to a place and just drop them off somewhere in Puerto Vallarta that represents Puerto Vallarta. Sure. Where would that place be?
Well, I would drop them off first at the top of the Malecon. I think everybody needs to take the walk down the Malecon, but and then take them into the central part of Puerto Vallarta, that area. Now, the Malecon, obviously, to me, especially this time of year, it's best to walk in the evening. So it depends, obviously, but a lot of times they come in at 3 on planes, 3 or 4 in the evening. So it would be, and that's what I sort of do. I take them on when I have time, I take them on the Grand Tour. So I would take them into Central Vallarta and tell them they can, and point out they can walk this way, and this is what they'll see. Walk this way, this is what they'll see. Walk that way. There's any number of directions, and they'll see something different. And just give them an idea what they'll see, whether it's shops. A lot like to come in and wander through the shops. So it's okay, just right over there is the shops, the market, just blocks of different shops and tiendas. And then under Isla Cuale Island, they have a whole bunch of shops too. So people like to do that, as well as walk across all the walking bridges there are around, the pedestrian bridges, across the river. So I would send them into Central and then point them also into Romantica Zone. Although Romantica Zone is built up, a lot more condos, it's still unique to see all the fine restaurants, coffee houses, and then it leads to, obviously, our wonderful Los Muertos Beach, and all sorts of places there to sit and have a margarita and enjoy the beautiful beach. Yes, our beaches are still beautiful here.
Yeah, they are. How about a word of warning? Got any word of warning for someone coming here? It doesn't have to be first timer. It could be any time.
Yeah. Be wary. Most of us understand that's 2 things. One is if someone's trying to be helpful at the ATM, make sure you know them. If you don't, tell them you don't need their help.
That's a good idea.
It's like in the States, you have to be careful using the ATM. Same rule applies here, even though you're a tourist and someone will act like, they're trying to help you. And press no when asked if you accept the conversion. Do not press yes.
Really?
You'll save yourself about 8% in banking fees. Always press no when you take money out of the ATM.
Wow.
If you accept the conversion. That's worldwide, by the way. And I've helped more people, save more people money that way.
Look at
and you think it won't work. Well, it works just fine, except that instead of taking $285 out of your account, it'll take $270 out of your account. And the last word of advice I've already mentioned is, I mentioned the taxis at night, and then that's just common sense. But if someone comes up, says something spilt on you, we all know that here who read the post, ketchup or mustard, let me help you wipe it off. Immediately stand off from them and say no thank you in loud voice, because that's a trick used all over the world, including here. And I know several people have gotten taken by that one. They think they're helping you, and they really steal in their wallet when you're trying to wipe the mustard or ketchup or whatever they spilt on you off.
Yes.
So those are the simple words of warning, just normal, I think, common sense things to be careful of, that I would.
That's all good. All right, let's come back to the island.
Mm-hmm.
Give us the name again of the Facebook page.
Yes, Puerto Vallarta, Isla Cuale Activities.
Okay. And
Please join.
Yeah, I'll have a link to that in the show notes. I'll also have pictures of Guy and his crew. They're not here, but Guy will send me some pictures of his crew, and some pictures of what's going on here now on the island. Pictures of the pretty bridge. It's been repainted and cleaned up and relit, which is
helps at night.
It's a godsend for people that are on this island for sure, that have to walk through this island at night. And I'll have those all in the show notes. You know where to find them at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. And
thanks, Barry.
Well, Guy, I want to thank you. Thanks for what you do. Thanks for
helping us.
Oh well, thanks for making this island a paradise again. And you know what? You didn't tell me about that restaurant. What's that restaurant on the island?
Called Las Barrazas.
So Las Barrazas.
Brazzaz.
Yeah, we were sitting right there.
I'm sorry, AS. Brazzas. Best margaritas in town, 75 pesos. And you won't be disappointed.
Excellent. All right, so get on down. Make sure that when you get on the island that you keep walking. Go all the way. The end of the island is a pretty little cultural center. And, of course, the work that you're doing here, Guy, is fantastic.
I should mention, at the cultural center,
Yeah.
They do have painting classes, so if you're interested in painting classes, and they have teachers here who'll teach you how to play the guitar and various instruments at the Cultural Center. A lot of people don't know that. And the painting classes you'll just see right outside on almost any day.
Really? Okay. So do they have like a Facebook page that announces those things?
Not
you
that
know
I'm
of?
aware of. It's run by the city government,
Okay.
so
Okay.
not that I've seen. But we try to advertise. But they also have chess every Saturday afternoon. Chess competitions here.
What?
It's not a competition, but chess players,
Chess
locals,
games.
just
Yeah.
chess games. Yeah,
People looking at each other funny.
yeah.
Across the board. Funny things on it. Well, Guy, again, thank you
Well,
so much.
thanks.
Thanks for coming on the show,
Yeah.
and thanks for allowing me to introduce you and this
pleasure.
island restoration project to my listeners. I truly appreciate it.
Yes, my pleasure. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Guy. Thanks for all that work and all the effort that you have put in so far. And I'm sure the effort that is to come in the future. As you can hear, they need your help. They need your money. They need your strength. They need everything. So I have a link to their PayPal account, which they have set up to pay for all that they're going to need to keep the project going and to keep making improvements to this part of the island. And, just basically to make it better than it ever was and to finally fit that piece of the puzzle, that last piece of the puzzle into place, a peaceful oasis on an island in the middle of town, Isla Cuale. All right, well, that should do it for this week. Stay tuned for more on-the-ground reports from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, with travel tips, great restaurant and excursion ideas, and more. But until then, remember that this is an interactive show where I depend on your questions and all of your suggestions about all things Puerto Vallarta. If you think of something that I should be talking about, well, please reach out to me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending us a message. And remember, if you're considering buying any type of tour while you're in Puerto Vallarta, remember to go to vallartainfo.com. That's JR's website, and reserve your tour through him, right from his website. Remember, this is a value-for-value proposition. His experience and on-the-ground knowledge of everything Puerto Vallarta in exchange for your making a purchase of a tour that you would do anyway. You're just doing it through him as a way of saying thank you. Thanks, JR, for being our guide. It costs no more than if you were going to use someone else, so do it, really. And when you do take one of those tours, email me about your experiences. Maybe you can come on board and share with others what you liked or didn't like about the tour. Again, contact me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending off a message. And don't forget, he's got his maps, his DIY tours, his revitalized happy hour board, and more. And I have links to all of those in the show notes. And once again, if you like this podcast, please take the time and subscribe, follow, give me a good review wherever you happen to be listening to the show, or tell a friend. That way we can get the word out to more and more people about the magic of this place, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And remember, I made it easy for you to do just that with each episode I create. But if you haven't been to my website, you really need to have a look there. I have the links to the places that we talk about, interesting pictures and more, all right there in my blog posts and in the show notes for each episode of the show. So check them out for sure if you haven't already. All right? All right. Thank you, Natasha Moraga, for filling us in on the progress over at Parque de los Azulejos, Tile Park PV. You make the city sparkle, amiga. Remember, donate, give, buy a tile, participate. And thank you to Marsha Blondin from the PV Reader column from here every week to stay informed as to what's happening in Paradise. And then to you, Guy Weeks, from the Isla Cuale Restoration Project. Join his troop of happy warriors, will ya? Make the upper end of Isla Cuale the paradise that it can be. Donate to the cause. I have a link to the PayPal account in the show notes, as well as pictures of the progress. And we will keep in touch. We'll follow them as they make the island more beautiful than ever. Make sure to support the new businesses, by the way, in that part of town. That's another way you can keep things going out there, too. Check everything out, the pictures, as well as these places in the show notes over at www.PuertoVallartaTravelShow.com. And thank you all for listening all the way through this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. This is Barry Kessler signing off with a wish for all of you to slow down, be kind, and live the Vallarta Vallarta Lifestyle. Nos vemos, amigos.
Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de amor junto al mar. Oh, oh, oh. Ahora solo camino eterno por la playa, me encuentro junto al río cuando todo está en calma. Pronto cae la noche, me brillas Puerto Vallarta. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta.